Isiah Thomas, the superstar point guard. And every time he opens his mouth about MJ, he gets the verdict that he is a hater. He is a huge MJ hater. Is this true? And he went on a Pivot podcast, and I was able to finally know what Isiah Thomas truly thinks about Michael Jordan and some things that he did for Michael Jordan that I had no idea about at all. I cannot find this on Google or anywhere else. But when Isiah Thomas said what he said, I said, that is interesting. So today's episode is Isiah Thomas, a Michael Jordan hater or not? Welcome to the Daily Thinker Podcast, where we talk about theology in basketball. Today we're talking about Isiah Thomas, one of the greatest point guards of all time. He is a top 5 point guard of all time. Handles which were amazing. Mid-range shot was good. Going to the hole was good. Defense was great. Playing downhill was great. In the pick and roll was great. He is one of the greatest point guards of all time. And of course, he had a lot of great moments as well. 2-time champion, won at every single level from high school to college to the NBA. He probably won in middle school and elementary as well. I'm sure he got a couple of rec league championships under his belt. But he went on the Pivot Podcast, and the Pivot Podcast has been doing great. I love when they let their guests just talk. They don't interrupt them that much, which I enjoy. In this episode, I really enjoyed when it came to Isiah Thomas giving, his feelings about Michael Jordan, his feelings about the Bad Boy Pistons and things of that nature. So that was an episode that I enjoyed a lot. I enjoyed watching that episode. But when it comes to this Isiah Thomas situation, we know Michael Jordan will come up. Anytime you interview Isiah Thomas, Michael Jordan's name will come up, and Isiah Thomas will get asked about Michael Jordan. So in these clips that I'm about to show you guys, and that you probably already seen, or if you haven't seen, I encourage you to go watch the full podcast. I will link it down in the description below. But is Isiah Thomas a Michael Jordan hater or not? That is the question that we need the answer to. And I believe that answer was in the Pivot Podcast. So, hey, let's hop into it.
I'm going to paraphrase. There was a very, very popular documentary that recently came out that you recalled. And then you got as you watch the documentary, the person that the documentary was about was actually throughout the entire documentary.
Yes.
And so in that, though, when you're mentioning about the perceptions of you and you say how different people didn't like you, normally, because you say winning, right? If you win, they're going to look out for you. Normally, when you do win, people do look out for you.
Yeah.
There are things that are excused from winners and champions that people who aren't very talented or people who aren't good at things, they don't get. How much did being on a team with Chuck Daly as a coach, who wasn't a pretty boy coach, who wasn't a coach that said what people wanted him to say, and playing with the Horns and the Lambeers, you actually being tough, not only skilled, but a dude that was willing to fight. How much of that, though, goes into the way people perceived and wanted to put out a negative narrative of you?
A lot of that went into it. But also, again, what we represented, the way we came to the arena, the way we carried ourselves, and then what we stood for. Again, we had just changed the whole industry in terms of how the game was going to be reported and talked about just by bringing in some black males to cover our sport. And then the next thing we said is, oh no, we got to upgrade our hotels, right? We were the first team to start staying in 5-star hotels. And then we were the first team to start traveling with our own private plane.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we upgraded all the standards in the league across the board. And check this out. To this day, you hear bad boys when you talk about the Detroit Pistons, right?
Yep.
We were the first team to introduce another color that we took from football, the Oakland Raiders, the silver and black. Yeah. Y'all know Mike Ornstein, right? Yeah. Okay, so Orny was the one who kind of put the whole marketing thing together, putting us with the Oakland Raiders, the silver and black, intimidate, dominate, We go out for a shoot around, and we got on Raider.
When RC was asking Isiah Thomas this question, he was like, when you are a winner and you do something at an all-time level, you get perks. You don't get judged the same way everybody gets judged. You get leeway. You get to do things that other people cannot do. That's in any profession. Basketball, coding, whatever you want to do. If you're a software engineer, you're a sales engineer, you're a network provider, whatever occupation that you do, if you are the best at it, you get leeway. You get to do whatever you want. And of course, Isiah Thomas is feeling like he didn't get that leeway. Now, when Isiah Thomas, he talks about how they changed the league, and I never heard this before. Maybe I'm just ignorant of this fact that, you know what? They were the first team to ask for upgraded hotels, first team to ask for private jets, and the first team to introduce a third colorway to their jersey. And I'm like, wow, this history gets blocked out by the NBA. I don't know why. I never heard anybody in the NBA tell this story. No NBA legend, even no NBA legend from the Bad Boy Pistons, or no NBA legend, period, or current NBA player say this before. Like, hey, shout out to the Detroit Pistons, the bad boy Detroit Pistons. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have private jets or upgraded hotels, or neither would we have a third colorway when it comes to jerseys. And I know somebody can say, hey, it was going to happen eventually. Eventually, they were going to get upgraded hotels and jets and private jets and things like that. And, you know, a third colorway in jerseys. That potentially, yeah, I can see that happening over time. But the Bad Boy Pistons were the team that ushered this in. So they should get some type of credit for that, but they don't. The narrative around them is always they were horrible for basketball. They were not good for the game, and we cannot market the Bad Boy Pistons, so we won't tell you about any of the good things that they did to help promote and uplift the NBA to what we see today. So shout out to the Bad Boy Pistons for that.
It seemed like you was upset being called. I've been called.
Well, I was upset. I was highly upset.
Why?
Let me say
Is
this.
that it's not negative.
It was the Last Dance documentary. We obviously know everything that was said about Isiah throughout that, and that was one of the quotes. And it was quoted, and then he quote tweeted it. It said, "Read the quote in its entirety. Don't cut it up. I meant what I said."
Yeah. Now here's why I was upset of watching a documentary of a guy being to everybody, but then call me a, and I ain't been nothing but nice to this dude. Now this real talk. Go back and document it. You can go back on the west side of Chicago. I ain't talking about Michigan Avenue where they used to kick me off for shining shoes. I couldn't shine shoes on Michigan Avenue. I couldn't shine shoes on Rush Street. They kicked me out of there. On the west side of Chicago, that's where I'm from, okay? Now, on the west side of Chicago, when Michael Jordan got to Chicago, I made it real easy for him to walk those streets on the west side of Chicago. My family took care of him. My sister and his brother hung out as friends. My little nephew lived with Michael Jordan. Wow. I'm gonna say this again. My little nephew lived with Michael Jordan. Now, I'm being extremely good to this dude. I'm calling his house during this period of time. So all this, you know, there was, no, dude, I was looking out for you. Now, when we played, right, you ain't seen me hit Michael Jordan. As a matter of fact, you ain't seen me hit nobody. Lambeer and Mahorn would hit somebody, and what they would do? They would come hit me or say Isiah hit. I said, no, fight. That's the dude who hit you. Fight him. Right. Oh, well, you told him to hit me. So then they want to fight me. Okay, well, I know how to fight. So I ain't backing down. We can do that, right? But in Chicago.
Wow. Now, I never heard anybody report on this, and I cannot find any of the sources on the internet about what Isiah Thomas just said. I mean, he did say you have to go to the west side of Chicago to go verify this. Now, I'm not going to catch a flight to go to the west side of Chicago to see if this is true. Okay? I'm not. But if anybody's from the west side of Chicago and they know this is true, let me know in the comments below. Isiah Thomas like, okay, Michael Jordan, you call me an a-hole. You call me an a-hole because the way I acted on the court. And this goes back to this notion that NBA players today are extremely weak, and the NBA players in the 80s and the 90s were much tougher. Now, this is true what Isiah Thomas is saying, that, hey, I was the reason Michael Jordan was able to walk on the west side of Chicago. That was because of me. I looked out for him. My little nephew lived, not stayed a night or a weekend or a week or 2 weeks or even a month. My little nephew lived with Michael Jordan. Like my sister and his brother were friends. They hung out. So Isiah Thomas, like, man, I got a good tight relationship with Michael Jordan. Like I used to call this man's house. So this notion that NBA players in the 80s and the 90s didn't hang out with each other, they didn't know each other, they didn't know each other's families. Yes, they did. We just didn't have social media to verify. They did things on the low. Nobody knew this was going on because social media, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok was not around. So Isiah Thomas like, man, Michael Jordan. And it makes sense why Isiah Thomas is frustrated watching this documentary. He's like, man, you calling me an a-hole just because the way I acted on the court and I never touched you. Like the other players touch you, but I never touched you, MJ. I never touched you. Now, this notion that MJ is so tough, he's tough-minded, he's tough-willed, he's strong, he doesn't take any BS. I mean, look like he couldn't take much from the Bad Boy Pistons. To be honest, if you're going out and calling somebody an a-hole who was looking out for you, man, that's messed up. That is messed up in my opinion. You can call Michael Jordan the GOAT. It's okay to say Michael Jordan is the GOAT, but it is okay to critique him as well. That's why I like Isiah Thomas. He is not bowing down to the feet of the Michael Jordan, shrine or worshiping MJ. He's not. He's objective and factual when it comes to talking about Michael Jordan, more than any of us can be factual and objective when it comes to talking about Michael Jeffrey Jordan. So, I mean, he said my little nephew lived with Michael Jordan. I was looking out for this dude, and he's calling me an a-hole because the way the team acted on the court. Man, if that is not weak, tell me what is weak, man. Tell me what is weak. Gosh.
Him to win, y'all changed all the rules so he can win. Wait a minute now. These are the facts, right? I go down the lane, I get beat. You see pictures of Michael Cooper scratching Larry Bird's jersey off, right? You see Kevin Micheal slamming Kurt Rambis to the floor. You see Dr. J, flying on Bird, right? Everybody getting hit. Oh, but he can't get hit?
Yeah.
So we're gonna change all the rules so he can dunk.
Yeah.
Because they marketing the dunk. It used to be, how high you fly in the air, can you dunk? And everybody's like, oh yeah, you can dunk. Okay, that's cool. Now you can jump all up in the air and do a 360 and everything, and everybody be like, yeah, that's cool, but that's Steph Curry?
Go shoot that three.
Go shoot that three. That's what we marketing now. Mm-hmm. So the bad boys, okay, we ain't gonna let you dunk. Go on, take your 2 free throws. Oh, we can't sell that. So now, did it make us mad? Did it make me mad? No, it made me want to beat you more. And even though all of that had happened, right? Dude, if I don't mess up my wrist, this is how I feel, they don't win. Now, they may feel different, and they're supposed to feel different. The thing is, if they don't change the rules for you, so you can win, it's different.
This is the narrative when it comes to talking about LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, James Harden, even Luka Doncic, as we see today. We see them dominate. And a lot of people say only reason they dominate is because they changed the game. When Michael Jordan was playing, it was extremely tough for him to dominate. But here you have somebody, a Hall of Famer, somebody who actually beat Michael Jordan in the playoffs, beat Larry Bird, and beat Magic Johnson. I mean, a lot of people cannot say that. So, hey, if this dude is talking basketball, I'm listening. Now, he said they changed the game for MJ. And the same narrative is pushed today. Hey, they changed the game for LeBron. He's weak. They changed the game for KD and Steph is weak. As we see now, three-point shooting. The game is more open. It's more fluid, more space. Pick and roll game. Catch and shoot. You're shooting 10 to 12 threes a game. That's just for one player, not even a team. But when we talk about Michael Jordan, we say, hey, the game changed for Michael Jordan so he can be able to dominate the paint and fly and do dunks. No, man, you are a hater. You are a hater. No, it's just a fact. They changed the game for Michael Jordan so he can be able to go to the hole. And you weren't allowed to hit Michael Jordan the way you were allowed to hit other players. Let's just be honest. And I didn't grow up watching basketball in the 90s. But when I hear other players who played in the 90s talk about Michael Jordan, they say, hey, you can't even touch him. You couldn't even touch him. But they still give him the respect and say, hey, he is the greatest. And I believe you can do that. Two things can be true, and those two things are true.
Different.
Is that why y'all walked off?
No, here's why we walked off, right? There was a lot of things that were going on. We down 3-0. Jordan and Phil Jackson, but mainly Jordan, has a press conference the day before. They getting ready to beat us. And he called us thugs, bad for basketball, you know, all that was being talked about. But then they still went and got half my team. All right. But
It's a little something there.
Yeah.
It's a little something there.
no, it ain't a little something, it's a lot of It's a lot of something because they just been lying. They ain't been telling the truth. And then called us undeserving champions. Now, we done beat the Lakers. We done beat the Celtics. We done beat y'all several times. Ain't nobody had a harder march to the NBA Finals than the Detroit Pistons. We done got cheated. We done got beat up. We have beaten the best of the best to ever play this game. If Jordan, they saying you the best, beat your ass. Magic and Kareem, beat you. Bird and Micheal, beat you. Can't nobody else say that. We the only one that can say that. Now, when you say we undeserving and then we bad for basketball and you throw these stereotype labels on the black community in Detroit and then put them on all team. Now, you go back and you look at that clip, yeah, we walked off, but the first person who was in front of us, his name was Terry Foster, who writes for the Detroit News. It's a brother, and he walked.
He was mad too.
Yeah, the whole city was mad. Not because they beat us, but the way they had labeled, keyword, the way they had labeled and used the stereotypes against us as a basketball team and then Detroit as a city.
And that's true. Like I said before, I don't think Isiah Thomas gets enough credit, or the Bad Boy Pistons get enough credit for beating Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Michael Jordan, and beat Michael Jordan several times. They should get the credit they deserve. And for Michael Jordan to say this team is unworthy, they're unworthy champions because they walked off the court, they didn't want to shake my hand. But then this the same people that complain about, hey, people being soft today. Like, come on, man, give me a break. Give me a break. I didn't even grow up watching 90s basketball. I was born in the late 90s, but just give me a break with this nonsense and give Isiah Thomas and the Bad Boy Pistons their respect. That doesn't mean I don't respect Michael Jordan. I can still respect Michael Jordan, but give Isiah Thomas and the Bad Boy Pistons their respect.
That you're talking about how the game was changed for MJ, and he brought the receivers. My sport, it made me think, the sport as a business, and you're a great businessman.
Yeah.
The sport as a business benefited from people not getting their teeth knocked out coming across the middle.
100%.
So you know what I'm saying? So can you look at it with your disdain for one side, look at it as that was a great
I don't have a
move.
disdain. I got respect and I got honesty and truth. So don't mistake my honesty and truth for dislike or disdain, right? And don't classify it or categorize it as hate or jealousy. It is honesty and truth. Yeah. Now here's also the truth. What Michael Jordan did for the NBA, hey man, we all still eating off of that. At that time, being president of the Players Association, we was getting 53% of the gross. Well, no basketball-related income. See, we weren't good at counting.
Yeah.
So every dollar that came in, we got 53 cents on every dollar. And Michael Jordan was good for business.
Yeah.
He was great for business. And what Michael Jordan did for the NBA and our league, he took it to a level that none of us could. We appreciate him for that. We honor him for that. Still getting paid off of that. So business-wise, yeah, great move. Marketing-wise, great move. I mean, when he came in with a megaphone with Nike, and we ain't never seen nothing like that.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the megaphone that Nike had and the commercials and all that stuff, that stuff wouldn't happen. Hey, that was good for us. That was good for everybody. It was good for him. That's real talk, right? That don't mean I dislike him or hate him. Those are the facts. Michael Jordan made a lot of money for this league. Now here's the next fact. It's only two players who've ever done this. What Michael Jordan has done and now what LeBron James has done, the monies that these two guys have made for the NBA and what LeBron James has done and the money he's made for the NBA, I don't know if it'll ever be done again. Guys making $40 million a year.
Yeah.
This group, when it's all said and done, when they don't want to give them their credit now. But when LeBron James and Kevin Durant and all them walk out the door and you look back at what they just did compared to what my generation did, man, these guys have taken it to a place that none of us could ever imagine.
Yeah.
You know, and they ain't getting no credit for it. They ain't getting no credit for it. 15 years from now, when people look back on LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and all it, hey, man.
In your time,
And like Isiah Thomas, what he said is true. It's true. Michael Jordan took the game to heights that he never thought could happen. Like, his shoes are still selling out today. 30 years later, 50 years from now, the shoes will still be outselling current NBA players today. So Michael Jordan, he did take the NBA to new heights. And you can see clearly from there how Isiah Thomas talked about Michael Jordan, that he doesn't have any disdain or any hatred towards Michael Jordan at all. He just speaking facts, how Michael Jordan called him an a-hole and talked about him in a bad manner and said, hey, this team was bad for basketball. Isiah Thomas feel disrespected, and rightfully so. He should feel disrespected because of the way Michael Jordan was talking to him. I know this happened many, many years ago, and they should put this behind them, and I hope that they do. But Isiah Thomas clearly respects Michael Jordan. He does. And when you talk about the new generation today with Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, LeBron James, who took the game to even better heights financially for other NBA players, that's amazing as well. Like, player empowerment, that's amazing as well. I don't know if we will see that happen again. Hopefully we do. And that means cats might be getting paid 75 or 60 million, 80 million a year. Is that possible? It can happen in this society that we live in today, like 20, 40, 50 years from now. I can see something like that happening to the top players in the NBA in the future. So clearly, as we see here, Isiah Thomas has no hate for Michael Jordan at all. No hate, no disdain for this brother at all. The man nephew lived with him. I mean, Isiah Thomas has no hate for him at all. Just from seeing this interview, he clearly doesn't. And if you still think he does, I don't have anything else to say to you. I really, really don't. I do not.